The hunt is finally over after 6 agonizing days and numerous screw-ups. The suspected Brown University gunman found dead on a self-inflicted gunshot wound. His body was located in a storage unit in Salem, New Hampshire. The suspect is a former Brown student and Portuguese national. Police also believe he's responsible for the cold-blooded murder of an MIT professor found dead in his home Monday in Massachusetts. Officials in Providence patting themselves on the back.
We got him.
It was because of the information provided to us by neighbors and the tireless work of our Providence Police Department, the Rhode Island State Police, the FBI, the ATF, and many other federal partners. We all worked well together to be able to identify this suspect.
I'll tell you that I'm extremely proud of this department.
The teams worked really hard.
Yeah, those officials crediting a Reddit post from a homeless man, the second person that they were looking for, with cracking the case wide open.
I'm hearing from sources that the person that identified the shooter happened to be a homeless person that either lived around or inside that Barris and Holly building.
He was as outstanding a witness as I've seen, and he deserves a lot of credit.
It looks like he posted on Reddit on Monday.
We received the tip about that post and immediately acted on it.
We knew about what was on Reddit, but we didn't know who that person was. That's why when we identified another person, we didn't know when that person came forward that he was the Reddit poster.
And he blew this case right open. He blew it open.
Yeah, it might be they just got lucky because their security protocols, not so much. We're now learning that there were only 2 surveillance cameras on the outside of the building where the shooting took place. And the university's president, well, she says the doors were unlocked.
I think we're going to have to look back and say, you know, we don't know how this person got in. We don't know when they came in. We do know that the building was unlocked that day for exams, and that's something we're going to have to look into. We'll look at everything that is done, but I do not think a lack of cameras in that building it had anything to do with what happened there.
Jessica, I think we can all be, breathe a sigh of relief that this person was found. I hate that he was found dead because you want to be able to question someone like this and you want to see him face justice. It's the coward's way out to do that. But there's still more questions than answers on this whole thing. I mean, I don't think you have to be conservative or liberal to say Brown University doesn't look like a safe place to be right now.
No, it was really interesting to me in the couple of days right after how they kept saying that it wasn't unsafe for the students to remain there, even though the guy was at large. Like, I would have been the first mom in the pickup line. Yeah. That was like, get in. Get in right now. And I might have brought security with me to get my kid from the dorm into the car. That no more security cameras could have helped. I tend to think more cameras are better. Maybe you would have had a different angle on something. This is not how anyone expected this to end, though, that this story about a Portuguese national who knew the MIT professor when he was in school back in Portugal, went to Brown as well. There's like a physics revenge axe to grind is a very strange line in all of this. But I just wanted to say something about the conspiracy theories that existed online during all of this, which, I mean, blowing my mind. Like, the killer didn't shout Allah Akbar, that was one. Killer didn't target Ella Cook, the Republican who was murdered. Killer didn't target that class because of a Jewish professor. The killer wasn't trans. The killer wasn't that Muslim Palestinian student who was doxxed that Brown had to take them off their website. And the MIT professor wasn't Jewish or hadn't made pro-Israel statements. We have to be very careful with the swirl that we put out online. Some very prominent accounts were tweeting things like this, and I understand it was upsetting. It felt like it was taking forever and the police were not doing a good job communicating with us. But this kind of stuff is incredibly dangerous.
You know, I don't disagree with you to point that out. Right. I really don't. I get exactly where you're coming from. But Tyrus, you only fill a vacuum if a vacuum is left open. And everything she points out are tied to issues that we see other atrocities committed almost every day. Look no further than Australia and other things that have happened in this country. So people aren't going there to be hateful. They're going there because they're having to figure things out for themselves because these officials either weren't letting anything out or they weren't doing a good job at positioning themselves and telling the public we're on this.
No, and Jessica brings up a really interesting point that kind of bothers me. We're so focused on the label of the story or the label of the person. We had to tell everybody that it was a homeless man. It used to just be an eyewitness. It was an eyewitness, a person who stepped forward. But you have to say homeless man because that way, well, I guess he favors Democrats because they're in favor of homeless people. And if you don't have homeless people, we wouldn't have solved this murder. Like they try to connect things that don't need to be connected. His name would have been fine. Maybe he didn't want to brag about being homeless. Maybe he was in between jobs. Maybe he was in between relationships. But this is what we do. We start putting the titles on everything. And they were so quick because of social media. You said, all the conspiracy theories. The funny thing is when you don't look at it, they don't get out. I purposely did not look at one story on social media about this. And guess what? Not one person today stopped me in the hallway to talk about the conspiracy theory. So we need to leave a lot of this stuff and not retweet it, rebroadcast it, or bring it up. We need to start leaving it where it is and stop falling for the labels. Why do we have to call this person came forward, he saw something, he said something, he should be respected. If there's a reward, he should get it. But letting everyone know that he's down on his luck or he's homeless or whatever his situation is, I don't see how that helps anyone.
Jesse, the one thing we did learn about the shooter is that he came over and he got legal residency here from this diversity visa lottery. 130,000 people were selected last year, apparently pretty much at random. So they're not sending their best and brightest, but we're not picking the best and brightest either by the hundreds of thousands. We've had other terrorists come over and get residency through that. The 2017 incident at Halloween where they drove, that dude drove a car through people here. So it's like, President Trump tried to halt it then, wasn't able to, or wasn't able to finish the deal on that. So now he's halting it again. I'm sure he'll be challenged, but, immigration definitely plays a role in this.
Can you believe we have a lottery system for immigration?
Yeah.
It's like we spin a roulette wheel for minorities. We're going to go with a guy in Portugal who got expelled from school. Come on in. Welcome to America. This is not how you build a football team, how you hire for a company, how you do anything. You don't close your eyes and throw a dart at the wall and hit a resume. That's not how you build it, and that's definitely not how you build the United States of America. Jessica brings up conspiracy theories. The police arrested the wrong guy. So that was a theory that was wrong. They arrested a white veteran, and it set the investigation back hours. People get things wrong. They have theories. Sometimes they pan out. Sometimes they don't. I don't think you should be blaming people online who are trying to find the killer. And a lot of this stuff that we're being yelled at, because the people were yelling at the public, stop, Guess where they got the tip? Online. Reddit. Someone wrote a thing on Reddit, and everyone's like, oh, it's a conspiracy.
But then they called the FBI line. Right. They weren't tweeting like, it's the Palestinian kid or it's a trans
Jessica,
person.
People are trying to solve the case.
Great.
It's okay if
Nancy
people help
Drew's
out.
everywhere.
Okay, if you're going to get mad at someone online who's trying to find a killer, if they had actually caught the guy, maybe the MIT professor would still be alive.
True.
All right, relax over there. So this guy we know now is arrogant. I have a Portuguese guy on my staff. He translated some stuff. He was in the same class as this MIT professor in Portugal and got kicked out of school. No one liked him. So he comes here and goes to Brown, has a terrible experience at Brown, and then disappears for 25 years. We see addresses in Boston, Miami, and Vegas. And this guy at MIT was like on the cutting edge of nuclear fusion. So I think there's a jealousy factor here. He didn't like Brown, he didn't like this MIT professor, so he came out and did his duty. The homeless guy, okay? The reason you're calling him the homeless guy is because he's living at the building where the shooting was. So let me ask you a question. Does Brown University know there's a homeless guy living on campus, or do they not know? So if they know and they didn't tell the cops, that's a problem because he would have been an eyewitness. Or they don't know, that's even worse. That means they have absolutely no security. And thank God for this guy. Apparently, he's a genius. He went to Brown, didn't work out, he's having some problems, but he lives at the school, and the homeless guy provided better security than the $8 billion endowment and the entire campus security staff did. That says a lot.
I mean, Emily, that's kind of the problem. And I did some research last weekend, sitting on the show, because Big Weekend Show is a couple of hours long. And Brown University is the most surveilled college campus in the country when it comes to cameras per student. But this building is like this giant black hole of cameras. So the president gets up there, and what does she say? She goes, well, I don't think cameras were a problem because we ended up using cameras to find him. It's like, yeah, you use people's Ring doorbell and like a camera on like a parking ticket post. Like these aren't the cameras that you guys paid for and put in.
I mean, this entire situation would be so hilarious if 3 people hadn't paid for it with their lives, because it is so absolutely ludicrous, so patently absurd for people like Brown University president and for the mayor and just all of those tragic individuals up there that clearly don't have a modicum of competence or any type of strength whatsoever that said, you know what, we're going to meet this with the aggression it requires because 2 people are dead and then to find out and the 3rd one is linked. Instead, they had the most low energy, lackadaisical approach. It's totally, by the way, with honors. We are lucky that the person living in the basement was an upstanding, wonderful human being who wanted to help find out and seek out why there was a random on campus. But what if he had been a perp? Because there's a lot of people that live here in New York City, a lot of our friends that encounter homeless psychos in their lobby, and they don't have that same outcome. So you're telling me that the president says, well, it's because of finals the doors were unlocked. I remember in law school, I don't remember college, it was 100 years ago. But in law school during finals week, everything was closed down even more. Otherwise, normal attorneys, admitted to the bar, you could come in and use the library. Finals week, it was students only. You had to show your ID for every single door to get in. So you're telling me now, when our kids are at stake, that being in finals somehow means all bets are off? People are searching for some type of justification for homicide always. Why did they do this? Is this a Good Will Hunting gone bad? The 2 professors fight. There is zero justification for homicide anytime, which means that when our kids and our peers and loved ones are in the care of professionals, we need to be able to trust that they do see the value of cameras as deterrence and as identification and armed security guards for both those things, et cetera, because people are going to be crazy and do horrible things you can't predict. So you need to have a system and a structure in place that will allow you to feel safe dropping off your child, because now 2 families of children, of students, and that MIT professors' families, they are celebrating Christmas alone with an empty chair at the table.
Yeah, I hope this homeless guy's a great guy. I don't know anything about him. I know that Kai, the machete guy, was good until he wasn't. So we don't know much about him, and he shouldn't just be living on campus.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.